Howdy folks, Sahira here, getting ready for my live Facebook stream, 5 mistakes to avoid when creating choreography. Choreography has been on my mind a lot the last few weeks. I'm always creating choreographies, and many of you dancers out there also are doing the same thing, but the process by which we do it varies so much from person to person. And today I'm coming to you with 5 mistakes that we should all definitely try to avoid while we are creating choreography in order to make our choreographies more exciting, easier to create, and just more overall a very joyful process for all of us instead of a super stressful process, which it can sometimes be. So I'm a couple minutes early. I'm just gonna wait for folks to log on so we can get going. Just want to check to make sure if you are on here, please let me know if you are able to hear me. Give me like a thumbs up or go ahead and just type down there in the comments that you can hear me and that you can see me, because I am not the most tech savvy person on the planet. So I just want to make sure that this is working before we get going. So please give me a thumbs up to let me know that I am coming through loud and clear before we get going. I'm super excited to chat with you tonight because we're going to be talking about these mistakes that we should never make when choreographing, and I promise you I've made them all. So I know from experience that they are not very useful, and I know also from experience how to avoid them. I'm going to be answering some of your questions because if you're on my mailing list, you know we've been talking a lot about choreography over the last 3 weeks or so, and you guys have sent me a lot of really good, very intriguing questions that I want to go ahead and address while we are here live. And then of course, if you have any other questions, feel free to send them along, and if I can address them during this live feed, I totally will. And if not, I will see them in the comments once I post this video, and I'll be happy to address them at that time. We have a lot of questions when it comes to creating choreography. It's a very individual process and it's very creative, yet it can also be really intimidating. And so my plan here is to give you a set of tools while we talk about these mistakes, to give you why we make these mistakes, and also give you something that is more productive and will serve you better to avoid these mistakes in the future. So just checking here, making sure we are going live, we're good. Let me know, please give me a like or a thumbs up because I can tell that you're out there. I would love to know that this is a conversation, right? So I'm here to talk with you. So let me know at any point in time if you need anything from me, because I am here to help you make your choreographic process a really wonderful, very exciting thing. So thank you for the thumbs up. Great, you guys can hear me. This is wonderful. I thought I could see comments. Could someone type a comment in there? Because I want to be able to see your comments as we go through. Let me know where you are tuning in from, because I believe I should be able to see your comments. And that way, if you have a question as we're going through this live process, I can hopefully answer it in the moment if I can multitask as good as I think I am able to. Excellent. Thank you, Amy, for commenting. Good to see you. Now I see where the comments pop up. Perfect. So say hi. Hey, Kelly. I love it. Mwah. Good to see you, girl. Wonderful. From Houston. Whoop, whoop. Good old Houston, Texas. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And now I can see you. And so I feel like you're here with me. You're not just a number up in the corner of the screen. I like to think of this as a conversation. I'm a huge convert to the world of online learning, but the thing that I always feel is missing is that personal touch. I'm a little fashioned at times, and I want to be able to see you as most as I can see you, and I want to be able to interact with you and to be able to create more of a conversation instead of me just talking to my own image in my phone. New Jersey, thank you so much, Edith, for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I am so glad that you're here, and I'm excited for this conversation that we are about to have. So I have one more question for y'all before we get going, and I want to know, have you successfully created your own choreography? That is my question. So please type into the comment, yes, no, maybe, I'm not sure, whatever the answer might be. Type into the comment box and let me know if you have ever successfully created your own choreography. Hi, Jean. Hi, Betty Jean. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. So Edith says no. Sad face, she has not yet created her own choreography. My hope here is to help you overcome that and change that to a resounding victorious yes. Betty Jean, you have created a choreography. Amy Neal, you've created a choreography. Kashi Dancer, yes, fantastic. I love those. If you have said yes, I want you to give yourself a little pat on the back, because creating a choreography is no small task, especially when I think the more we know about the dance, the easier it can become to be bogged down in what we believe are the rules for how we should and should not dance, how we should and should not choreograph. And I'm here tonight with good news, because I really feel like there are fewer quote unquote hard and fast rules about this, because it is a creative endeavor. And so I'm going to help you kind of let go of maybe some of those rules that are holding you back. Bonnie, you said you've made a couple of choreographies. Awesome. Desi Lang, I hope I'm saying your name right. You said no choreography for you yet, but hopefully everybody is working towards one and wanting to do it. Honestly, the majority of people that I talk to through my mailing list and here online on social media want to create choreography. It's a rare dancer that's just not interested at all. And I feel like it's a natural extension of our desire as human beings to express ourselves, to want to be able to create your own choreographies. Hi, Mom. My mom's tuning in. She's still my biggest fan after all these years. Thanks for tuning in. Maybe you can create a belly dance choreography too. So I feel like it's a natural extension of our desire to express ourselves, to create a choreography. So many of us begin in classes with other instructors creating choreographies for us, and we dutifully do the movements as they've asked us to do them. And I feel like it's an excellent way to learn to dance. It's an excellent way to learn how someone else hears music and interprets music through their body. And I love to learn other people's choreographies. I know it's not for everyone, but I learn a lot by watching another dancer work through music and show me how he or she interprets that with their body. But at a certain point, you want it to be how you interpret it with your body, right? And so we're here to talk about that tonight, because I want all of you, I sincerely desire and want for all of you to be able to make that creative endeavor happen if it is something that is on your radar, if it is something that is a goal and a dream of yours. And I believe that everyone is equipped to do it. And I'm going to tell you how and why tonight. So we're going to be talking about 5 mistakes to avoid when creating choreography, which will hopefully empower you to feel like you are ready to tackle it, whether you've done it before or not, maybe making a bigger and better choreography, maybe approaching it from a different angle. And if you haven't yet created your own, hopefully this will give you the encouragement that you need to go out there and conquer your first choreography. And then, of course, at the end, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my new online intensive, Secrets of the Confident Choreographer, that takes a lot of what we're talking about here and makes it very concrete and actionable. And so I have a 6-week course that I'll tell you all about that is currently open for enrollment, that you can jump in on if this kind of thing is really speaking to you and helping you understand the process by which you can successfully and confidently and joyfully create choreography. I also have a few questions that have been submitted by other readers and listeners who are attempting to create choreography and are finding themselves stuck. So I will address several questions as we go through. And then if you have any questions while you are listening, please go ahead and type them there in the comment section, and I will try to get to them either live or after the fact. Either way, I will answer your question, I promise. So thank you for being here with me tonight. I really appreciate it. I know time is an incredible resource that all of us guard very preciously, and I really appreciate you choosing to spend your time with me. It means a lot to me, especially on a Sunday night. I know it's a school night, it's late for some of you, so thank you so much for tuning in. So I'll try to keep this concise and to the point so that you can get to bed at a reasonable hour if you are Central Standard Time or later. Okay, so let's get going. Let's kind of talk about first a tiny bit about my story. Why have I started thinking about the process and the methodology of choreography? I've been dancing now for 20 years. 2020 is my 20th year of belly dance, which is crazy to think about. So ever since I was 7, I've been belly dancing. So 2020 is my 20th year. And I was looking back through, I have a choreography folder on my laptop. I was looking back through that. And in the last 15 years, I have made 80 choreographies. Now, before you get super impressed, most of them were not for me. I teach several classes, I direct a couple of different troupes, and at one point in time I was teaching like 5 classes a week and creating choreographies, a different one for like all of them. So I had to be mildly prolific with choreography to keep my students satiated, to keep my classes driving forward, and then of course for myself, for my performances, both at private events and at workshops and gala shows, that kind of thing. So I had to crank out a lot of choreography. I also do improv, but when I get on a big stage, I love to do choreography. And then obviously when I teach in my classes, choreography is key to what we're learning. There came a moment in time about 7 years ago. I recall it vividly because I was teaching a back-to-back beginner and intermediate class, and I had just created new choreographies for both of them. And I was in the middle of my second hour of classes when I found myself totally lost, because the choreography I had created for that class and the choreography I had created for the class before were like fusing in my brain, and I realized they were like sort of the same thing and kind of just the same movements, but in sort of different orders. And I froze. I was like, I had to stop. I was like, I'm not sure what's going on. I was totally lost. I came home. I was really upset. And I looked at my notes and I was like, oh my God, these are like the same choreographies in reverse. You know, one had like more layers and more shimmies, but it was my sort of different body and muscle memory just coming out in different ways. Rafaela, thank you for tuning in. Good to see you, Chica, remotely through the phone. And so I realized in that moment something had to change. The way I was creating choreography was not working for me anymore. Because while I was cranking them out pretty fast, I think like anything that you start to do a little bit more rotely and just cranking it out, I was losing quality for quantity, and it all started to look the same. And so I had to like take a deep breath and cry it out a little bit and step back and say, okay, what's going on? And so I realized a couple of things that day. One, I realized that massive creative output without refueling my creative fire was going to be the death of me. So I needed to get back into classes. I needed to take some other people's classes to gain input because I was always outputting. I realized that the methodology that I had been using for choreography for the last, like at that point in time, like 10 years, wasn't working anymore, and something needed to change. So let me tell you what my methodology, my brilliant methodology at that point is something that I now lovingly call the shotgun approach. And so let me know if this is familiar to you. You find a song, you love it, you listen to it over and over and over, and then you get into your dance space to choreograph it. You put it on and you just go for it. You just dance, and it's like, I just sort of movement vomit all over the place, and I'm just like blah blah blah, here's what comes out of my body. I do it a whole bunch of times, stuff starts to stick, and I write it down. Yeah, that is my shotgun approach. I feel like I'm just like throwing out movements. Hello Victoria, thank you for joining us. So I just kind of throw out movements and grab what sticks. And I did that for years, and it worked pretty well, honestly. I thought it was a fantastic methodology until all the stuff that stuck was all the same stuff, and it all kind of looked the same. Yes, shotgun is flow in a way, absolutely. It's just what came out of me. But because I was producing so much and not getting as much input as perhaps I should have been, all the stuff that flowed out of me was kind of the same thing all the time. It was okay. I hope it didn't suck. I don't think it sucked, but it wasn't optimal. It wasn't premium choreography, material. Like I really think it was lacking something. So I took a step back. I took a lot of classes. I took a fantastic choreography creation course at that time that really helped me. And so that was something that really changed the way that I choreographed. Bonnie, thank you so much for, Bonnie, you're writing about what to do when you get stuck. So what's a good way to tackle moments when you get stuck? I'm going to write that here, and I'm going to talk about it, getting stuck. We'll talk about that when I get to the questions. Thank you so much for your question. So in that moment, I decided I needed a better methodology for choreographing, and that is when I began to create the methodology that I now teach in my Secrets of the Confident Choreographer course. And so, part of this methodology, I've been talking about it a little bit over email and via social media the last couple of weeks, is creating a map of my choreography to be able to identify sections of the choreography. I look at choreography from several different angles, not just a movement angle, but a storyline angle. I look at it from an emotional angle. I look at things like floor patterns as a way to drive choreography. I look at things like facings to drive a choreography, levels, lots of different things to sort of allow me to view choreographic creation from very many different angles, because the more angles I have to attack this fantastic creative endeavor, the more tools I have in my toolbox to come at it creatively. Yeah, and so this is what we're not gonna talk about that quite as much today, but I wanted to give you kind of the background as to why I think about choreography the way that I think about it. So let's move into the 5 mistakes that we want to avoid when we create choreography. And these certainly aren't an exhaustive list, but these are the things that I find the most important to empower you, to empower me, to get out there and create kick-butt choreography with confidence and joy. Because if we are anything alike, and I believe we are, the majority of us are doing this, are dancing because we love it, because we find joy in it. And when we start to get stressed out and bogged down in the choreographic process, and it becomes kind of a chore, and it maybe becomes something that makes us feel uncomfortable or makes us feel insecure, then it's just not fun anymore. And I often say that if it's not fun, like, do we want to keep doing it? Joanna! Oh my gosh, thank you for tuning in, Joanna. I haven't seen you in forever. I miss you. So 5 mistakes. Here we go. Mistake number 1. And this one might seem like it's a basic idea and maybe not completely relevant, but let me tell you, based on the emails that I've been getting from y'all for the last 2 or 3 weeks on my mailing list, for those of you on my mailing list, we've been talking about choreography for a while now. This is the number 1 problem that I see, and this is the biggest mistake you'll ever make, is thinking that you are not good enough, advanced enough, far along enough, intelligent enough, creative enough, fill in the blank enough to create your own choreography. This is the problem that most of you come to me with, saying, well, I really haven't been dancing that long, or I don't feel like I have all these moves really under my belt, or, I don't have a music background like you do, so I don't think I hear the music the right way, so I just don't know enough to be able to create choreography. So we're gonna take a deep breath, and I'm going to say, let that limiting belief go. You have to let that go, because with that belief in your head, it's never going to come out. It's never going to flow, the choreographic process, because there's always going to be that little voice in the back of your head that says, you're not good enough to do this. And that will never serve us in any aspect of our life. And so I want you to get rid of it for sure in your dance and your choreography endeavors. And if you can start to eliminate that sort of negative self-talk from every area of your life, I would be ever so happy to know that you could do that, because this is not something that's going to serve us in any way. So I don't care if you've been dancing 1 year or 100 years, you have what it takes to create a choreography that's going to work for you at the level you are at. Because a choreography is self-expression. You're not trying to create a choreography for Dina of Egypt. You're trying to create a choreography for you, where you are right now. Not for the dancer that you think you wish you were, or you hope to be in 5 years. I need you to approach this choreography from right where you are, right? So yeah, Desi, you're saying that you're very improv oriented, so you find it hard to create choreography. And we can kind of talk about how you can use this idea. And I think improv and choreography really go hand in hand and can help us get over some of the pitfalls we find in choreography. And it's a good exercise to use the other side of your brain to sort of lay down your creativity in a more solidified way, and not think of it as a limiting idea. So I'll try to talk about that as well, if I don't run out of time here to talk about improv versus choreography. So number 1, you have what it takes. Yeah, you're good enough, you're strong enough, and gosh darn it, people like you, right? Isn't that how it goes? So you all have what it takes to create choreography. Number 2, so this is a bigger, like a truly more on mistake that I see people come up with from time to time when you're creating choreography. The second mistake that I'd like you to avoid is picking a piece, choosing a piece that is not appropriate for the occasion you're dancing for or for the dancer that you are. So remember, we were just talking about how you have to choreograph for yourself in the moment where you are right now and not where you wish you would be or not where you're going to be in 5 years. So being aware of the music that you choose and making sure you don't choose something that is too big for you or wrong for the event. This is something that's come up recently. I'm trying to choreograph a new piece with a dear friend of mine. We want to do some Flutter fan veils, and I've been really drawn to like epic movie music. And I actually did a choreography for my beginners that was kind of epic movie music, and it was really hard to do because at some point in time you feel like there needs to be an explosion or I need to levitate right off the stage for it to work with this music. And so sometimes music will appeal to us, but it might not be the right sound or the right flow or the right song for what it is that we are looking for, right? So let me give you a couple of different examples. A lot of us work in kind of two realms, like the artistic realm and the entertainment realm. And so the music that I choose to dance with for a big stage performance at a gala event, for something where like an Egyptian star is coming in and teaching, and I'm going to dance in the show, the song I'm going to choose for that is going to be really different than the song I choose to dance to at Uncle Bob's 50th birthday party, right? Going to be very different. And so knowing if you have like an end goal for that choreography, knowing what it is and making sure you choose something that is appropriate for the venue and for the space. Are you dancing for belly dancers who know what's going on and you can do something that's very traditional, or you could do something super fusiony and they get it? Or are you dancing for muggles, right? You're dancing for muggles who don't really know what's going on, and so you need to do something that kind of fits a little bit more of the flavor of what they expect because you're there to entertain them and make them happy. Do you need to fill in, what they are looking for belly dance? So when, let's say we are choreographing for the art of it, we're choreographing for ourselves. So let's get rid of kind of that entertainment version. Choreographing for ourselves, but we do intend to put it on a stage. Who is your audience going to be? Is it going to be a belly dance event? Do you have a time limit, right? Do you have a time limit? Do you need to keep your music within that time limit? And what is the flow of the song that you're wanting to use, right? So I have a lot of people come to me with songs that they want to choreograph and they're so moved by this song. But oddly enough, when we come and we kind of listen to it strategically to look for segments and sections that can build the narrative of their choreography, it's all very one level. It's like belly dance goes to the club and it's for 4 to 5 minutes, and it makes them want to boogie, like it totally makes them want to shake their hips. But if you're going to put it up in front of an audience for 4, 5, 6 minutes, is it going to be engaging enough for the audience that you're planning to perform it for? So thinking about your audience, thinking about your intended performance venue, and then definitely if you're doing something that's more Arab, Egyptian, Lebanese, whatever, knowing where that song comes from, knowing the lyrics of the song, all of this. Oh, and I've made these mistakes many times, right? Knowing the lyrics of the song, knowing what it means, and knowing if it is referring to a particular folklore tradition is really big as well, because obviously you want to show respect for the culture the dance has come from. And if you are dancing for a knowledgeable audience, and even if you are not dancing for a knowledgeable audience, being sure that you have done your homework as to the background of the song, where it comes from. Are there certain movements that are going to be expected? If it's a Saidi or Khaliji, is it a Debki versus a Saidi? Knowing all of this stuff is very important. So doing your research, either yourself or asking a trusted instructor to help you out with that, is big. Facial expressions, how to look like you're having fun with others, right, when others think you're not, but you are. You look mean when you dance. Oh no, Victoria. Yes, facial expressions are huge. And when we dance, and this is something that I actually do cover in a lot of detail in my choreography intensive, is this part of our body, which is gigantic. Like, this is huge for expressing music, movement, emotion, of course. And I feel like so often when we choreograph, we do it from the neck down. So that's huge. That is definitely something. So yeah, it's a big mistake to not use your face. I didn't put that in here, but I'll make that mistake number 6, not using your face when you dance. So mistake number 2 is choosing a piece that's inappropriate for the venue, or not understanding the piece that you have chosen well enough to be able to choreograph to it effectively. Moving on. This one's big. This one's huge, and I feel like it's life-changing. Mistake number 3 is focusing too much on the what and not enough on the how. Any of you who have been following along either on my mailing list or here on social media, I don't know if I posted it on social media, but I put it out to my mailing list just a few days ago. The idea of the what versus the how. As dancers, as choreographers, we are often very embedded in the idea of like, what movement am I going to do next? My husband's watching me from the other room in our house. Thanks for tuning in, baby. When we are choreographing, we're often totally tied into what movement should I do? What movement do I need to do next? What movement is the right movement to do with this piece of music at this point in time? And my answer that is going to set you free is there is no right answer. There is no perfect move. And if I may take it a step beyond that and just get a little crazy here, I am going to venture to say that almost any movement that you choose can totally work as long as you do it while listening to the music. As long as you do it while listening to the music. This is huge, so I'm going to repeat it one more time. When you are choreographing, do not worry so much about the what. Take what naturally wants to come out of your body and do it while 110% listening to the music, allowing it to come in through your ear, filter through your brain, down through your body, and out through your body, through your arms, through your legs, through your hips, letting your body emote that sound that the music creates. And I promise you, almost anything you pick can look like you completely purposefully put it there. And I'll try to post, I have a great video on YouTube, I'll post a link to it, where I literally take like a super basic combination and I do it to 2 completely different pieces of music. One is like a Saidi piece and one is something like totally modern. And I do them completely listening to the music, so making tiny little tweaks here and there, to the basic combo that I came up with to interpret the music the way that I'm hearing it. And I will let you decide. I'm not going to say what I think about how it turned out. I'm going to let you decide whether or not it looks like it was meant to be. So in this idea, like I think if I could say, instead of focusing on the what is it that we can do to fix it? My goal, my desire for you, your action item here, let the music be your guide. Anytime you are choreographing, let the music be your guide. And this will be a big answer to several of the questions that I received and several of the issues that dancers are having when choreographing is very much related to not allowing the music to be the thing that drives your movement. So does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense, because I think that this is 1, very powerful, and 2, very liberating, right? If we don't worry about like, which do I do, the reverse Ami or a triple sow cow at this point in time in the music, like you are set free to do whatever you want, whatever your heart desires, whatever your hips desire. Yes, thumbs up, thank you. Like I think this is huge. We get too tied down in thinking that there is something right and wrong, that like we freeze up, we paralyze ourselves with the fear of doing something wrong. And I'm here to say, in 20 years, I've done a lot of things that were probably not like right, but it's rare to do something that is really wrong. Unless you're like hurting yourself or offending someone's culture, almost nothing that you do is going to be wrong. So don't worry. Good, Kelly, it makes sense. I'm so glad. And I'll post that that YouTube video so you guys can try it yourself. You can learn this little easy super beginner 101 combination that I do, and then I want you to put it to like 3 different songs that you love while listening to the music and see what happens, because it's a very powerful thing. So that's mistake number 3, is focusing on the what over the how, or not letting the music be your guide. Moving on to the 4th mistake. This one gets me every time. The 4th mistake to avoid when creating choreography is letting the perfect be the enemy of the good. Yeah, comment below if you've done this before, where like you've come up with something but it's not perfect, so you scrap it and you end up with a big gaping hole in your choreography because there's this part that you can't come up with like the perfect combo for, and you bang your head up against the wall and you just can't make it happen, so you just leave it out and you're just like, now I have this big blank spot in my choreography that becomes like the thing you're afraid to approach. Every time you come into the studio, you're like, oh God, I've got to do that 16 counts and I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Yeah, Betty Jean, I wish I could do a triple sauerkraut too. We could do some like ice skating belly dance fusion. I haven't seen that before. It'd be very interesting. So yeah, Bonnie, you get this? Like, I have done this so many times where I'm like, no, that's not right either. No, that's not perfect either. You know, I'm just going to skip this part and I'll move on. Or even worse, I'll just bang my head up against those 16 counts for like 3 hours. And then I'll go to bed like totally frustrated and angry, right? Because I couldn't make it work, right? So in life, as in dance, I think the first time I heard this, someone was talking about getting your hair done to go out at night. They're like, you can't hairspray it once it's perfect. You have to spray it and then work with it, and then spray it more and then work with it. And this was like 20 years ago that I heard this, 30 years ago, I think. And now I'm like, but yeah, it's much like that with choreography too. You can't wait till it's done and then hairspray it. You've got to say, yeah, that kind of works. That kind of works. I'm going to write it down, or I'm going to video it, however you notate your choreography. That kind of works. I'll put it in there. And then you keep working, you keep moving on. And like, as you choreograph the stuff around that 16 counts, you're like, oh, wait, you know what? Now that I think about it, this might be a little bit better. It's a work in progress, right? And so if you find yourself, and the more you choreograph and the older you get, I can tell you my experience, you begin to feel that sort of dread when you start to push up against the wall and you're like, oh man, I don't know, this isn't working. Just put something down. Like, just go with it and move forward, because you'll find yourself falling down that rabbit hole, and sometimes it's very hard to come back out. So do not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. I have a little trick that I use, because I will literally, like, once I've kind of beat my head against a combo for a while and I feel that dread and I'm falling down the rabbit hole, I'm like, that's it, inner hip rolls. I put my inner hip rolls in, I call it the noodle. I put my inner hip rolls in and I move on. And I will come back to it later and it will be fine and something better will be put in there, but I just got to do something and move on and let it go. Not every day is going to be as creative as the next, and your creativity will ebb and flow and wane and peak. And so you have to give yourself time to choreograph, right? You can't do it all overnight right before a show, because you'll find moments where like you have the perfect inspiration for that 16 counts, or you go to a class and you learn a combo and you're like, hey, that combo would fit really well in that spot, you know, and you've just saved yourself 3 hours of disastrous banging your head against the wall because you let it go and you put in your inner hip rolls a few weeks ago, right? So that's mistake number 4, letting the perfect be the enemy of the good. Yes. Let's move on to our fifth mistake that we should avoid when creating choreography. And this one admittedly completely comes from my experience, and you might find that this is a little different for you, but I'm going to venture to say that if it's not a problem now, it could very well be a problem 15 years from now when you're still creating choreography, which I hope you are creating choreography 15 years from now, because I will be, and we can do it together. The 5th mistake I say that you should totally avoid when creating choreography is doing it with no game plan, with no methodology. And this is where I was for years and years. I just walked into the studio, I put on the music, and I went. And like I said, it actually worked for a while. But now when I go back, because I have all those choreographies saved on my hard drive, when I go back, because I'll pull them out from time to time and maybe redo them or revisit them or teach them to a beginner student or something. Ouch. Some of it's really bad. But of course, some of it is where I was at the time. And I honor where I was at the time. It's different than where I am now. And that is a good thing. And that's fine and natural and fabulous. But some of it, I realize, like a lot of my choreographies were very similar, because I have muscle memory, because I have combinations I love. And when I just do my shotgun approach to creating dance, those combinations always come out. And they always stick because I like them. I do them well. I'm very familiar with them. And so I don't do that anymore when I choreograph. Not to say that I don't put on the music and just move, because I do, but I don't do that until I have created a game plan, until I've mapped my music, until I've looked at the flow, and the structure, and I've found my different segments of choreography. I've labeled them, I've given them names and identities and colors, and they've become my intimate friends, and we've gone out for lunch several times. And now I know what needs to happen there, right? And then I get into the studio and start to choreograph because I have a good idea of what wants to happen there, because I've become intimately familiar with the inner workings of the song. Does that make sense? Yeah. Hi, Tambry. Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. And so this is big. Choreographing with no game plan is like going on a road trip with no map. Knowing that you want to get to Princess of Cairo land, but you don't have any roads to take to get there. And that's hard. And I think this is where a lot of people get really discouraged. And people are like, I tried to choreograph and it just didn't happen. I didn't find anything I was happy with. I went around and around. I never finished it. I started it, but like it just didn't feel good. And I think it's because people are just kind of walking in and bleh, just like kind of going for it. I feel like that has a place. Like I said, I still use it. I feel like it's a methodology that should be one of at least a dozen tools in your pocket, but not the only one. So if you've ever found yourself in this position where you've gone in to choreograph and it's just kind of fizzled and died, it's because you had no plan. It's most likely not because you don't know enough moves, or you're not smart enough, or not creative enough. It's because you didn't have a plan. Like any project we embark on, think about projects you do for work, right? Think about projects you have at home. If you're doing home, renovations, there's always a plan. You don't just get in there and start breaking down walls. You know where you're going. You know what has to happen, A, B, C, D, E, all the way from the beginning until the end. And that is what guides you through the process. Yeah, Victoria, you did a dance that took you 2 weeks to get past your first move. Absolutely. My first choreography didn't manifest. I remember it was to a Madonna song from her Ray of Light album. I can't remember which one, but it had kind of this Indian-esque feeling. I was like, this will be great to belly dance to. And in the beginning, I knew there were some shoulder shimmies. I still remember it. I got about 30 seconds in, and then I was just like, and I just kept doing those 30 seconds over and over and hitting the wall. And then I would do my shoulder shimmy and hit the wall. And then I never finished it. Yeah, because I just kept starting from the beginning and hitting a wall and falling down and trying again the next day, and I just kept doing the same thing over and over. It was very frustrating. I thought I'd never choreograph after that one, but luckily I was wrong. It just took a lot of time for me to get over that frustration and start again. So I encourage you, friends do not let friends choreograph without a plan. And so now I'm here to tell you, don't do it. Or you can, but just be ready for it to take a really long time, possibly be very frustrating. And if you keep doing it for 20 years, be ready for all your choreographies to look the same at some point. You'd be like, oh no, what have I done? Yeah, so let's recap the 5 mistakes we are now going to avoid when we create choreography. The first one, we've already let it go. Thinking that we are not good enough, smart enough, talented enough, been dancing long enough, blah, 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 to create a choreography. If that is something that has been in the back of your head, I want you right now to say out loud, I can't hear you, but I'm going to pretend I can, say, I have what it takes to create choreography. Then I want you to write it down in your notebook. I have what it takes to create choreography. And then I want you to write it down here in the chat. I have what it takes to create choreography. What you believe in your head is huge. So don't say it and not think it. Right? Because it's huge. Therese, I know we're going to talk, girl. Those all seem to apply to you. So yeah, we're going to fix it, right? Step 1 is realizing you have a problem and admitting it, right? So it's not a problem. It's just stumbling blocks that everyone has dealt with. I have dealt with every single one of these. And I have surpassed them, and I have lived to tell the tale, and I am here to help you get past them too, because they suck. It's not fun. It's not fun. Yes, Kashi, you have what it takes. I want to hear you guys. Do you have what it takes? Tell me, because the answer is yes. It's not like it's a rhetorical question. Yes, you have what it takes. Put there in the chat. You have what it takes. You have what it takes. You do. So that's mistake number 1. We are eliminating that one right now. Mistake number 2 is choosing a piece of music that's not appropriate for your venue or appropriate for where you are as a dancer, or maybe not understanding the piece of music that you choose. Yes, Kelly, you have what it takes, and you're gonna create one, and you're going to perform it this year at our student night. I know you will. You have what it takes. Yes, Terry. Yes, wait, no question mark. Get rid of that question mark, Desi. You have what it takes. No question mark. Yes, absolutely, Katana. You have what it takes. Yes, Bonnie, you have what it takes. You all have what it takes. Yes, Quinn, I love this. You have what it takes. You all have what it takes. It's already there. It's already there. You just need to believe in yourself and have a methodology to move you through it. I like it. I like Corinna. I have what it takes. Ihwit. I'm going to make t-shirts. It's going to say ihwit, and everyone's going to be like, what are you talking about? You don't need to know. It's okay. So excellent. So we talk about mistake number 2, choosing a piece of music that's not right for your venue or not right for your performance that you're creating, or choosing a piece of music that is not in your native language and not researching what it means, right? That's huge. Not only is it just a smart idea so you don't dance inappropriately to it, but you will find as you work through it, and this is something I talk about in my intensive all the time, having those words gives you a storyline. And while what we do traditionally is not storyline driven, if you know the story behind the song, it gives you a massive amount of material to work with as you create your choreography. So why wouldn't you want to know what they're talking about, right? It not only prevents you from looking stupid if you dance it in front of an audience who does know what the song is about, but it also gives you a lot of play. It gives you a lot of tools in your toolkit to play with as you create your choreography. Mistake number 3 was focusing on the what over the how, or not letting the music be your guide. This is gigantic. I want you to now banish the concept of there being a right and a wrong move, because unless we're talking any sort of extremes, there aren't. So just let it go. Mistake number 4, letting the perfect be the enemy of the good. This is my downfall all the time, but I've gotten over it, right? Because now I have a child, and like perfect just doesn't happen anymore. Things are crazy. Things are crazy. So you got to just do the best you can do, right? And so if you find something that kind of works, but it's not ideal, just put it down on paper and move forward. If something better comes along, you then replace it. Like there will be, and I have choreographies where I keep massaging things and then I perform it, and then I perform it again 5 months later, and it's a little bit different, right? So it's something you can continue to play with. There's not a moment at which it has to be like perfection. You know, it'll move with you. And then I have choreographies I've literally finished, performed a couple times, put away, pulled back out 10 years later, gone, oh my God, and then reworked them and performed them again. And it's a totally different creature, right? And then mistake number 5, choreographing with no game plan. While you can do it and it can work, I promise you it is slightly more painful, a little bit less joyful, and not as sustainable if you're talking the long haul. And I don't know about you, but I am in this dance for the long haul. So please raise your hand or say me too if you are in this dance for the long haul. I've been doing it for 20 years and my intention is to do it for about 40 more. And I always say I'm gonna die on the dance floor with my zills clutched in my hands. You're gonna have to bury me with those things in my hands because I'm not gonna let them go. Yes, I love it, thumbs up. We are in it for the long haul, all of us. And so if you're gonna keep creating choreography over a number of years, you need a methodology that's sustainable so you don't end up creating dozens of choreographies that all look the same, like I did for a while. Hey Tiffany, thanks for tuning in. Yes, me and you, Corinna, we are in it together. We're gonna go old and gray on the dance floor together. It's gonna be fantastic. That's the plan. Yeah, more than 50 years there. Excellent. I love it. We're gonna be like the centenarians. We're all gonna be like 100 and something, and belly dancing together, shimmying in our chairs with our finger cymbals. It's gonna be awesome. So I plan to have some longevity, and I hope that you all plan to have some longevity too. So having a methodology behind your choreography, yes, Kelly, will allow you to continue to create engaging and exciting choreography in a calm, collected, and joyful way, and they won't all look the same. Dancing since 2002, we're practically belly dance sisters. I started in 2000. I love it. 20 years ago. It's crazy. I love it. So let me know if there's any questions about those 5, and I'll be sure to like post it in a written form so you can easily and concisely read them. Your coffin will be all belly dance decked out. I'm gonna imagine we're gonna put like rhinestones all over our coffins. They're gonna be awesome. That's great. I wanna address a few questions that have been asked of me over the last few weeks. Most of these folks I've emailed you back with my like kind of longer answers to the questions as well. But I know if you have a question, most likely someone else has the same question. So I want to put these up here because these were some common questions that I received over the last few weeks, just talking about choreography and choreographic methods. So Therese, I know you've asked me lots of questions, and I want to address one of yours first. She talks about finding the patience to go about this process, right? So there's something about anything with a process is going to take a little bit more methodology and patience than doing, say, our shotgun approach, just getting in there and dancing. That's definitely easier in the short run, more difficult in the long run, right? So finding the patience to deal with mapping the music and counting all those darn 8s. How many times can I count to 8 before I go crazy? Yeah. And then dealing with kind of the pressure of picking a move, like just picking a move already and putting it down on paper. So I think when you realize that the patience that you need to have for the process is going to make everything from here on out easier, it becomes more desirable to do. So I am the queen of shortcuts, and I get frustrated all the time because things take so long. Why does everything take longer than I think it should? I'm like, I'm not going to button my pants because it takes too long. I'm not going to tie my shoes. I'm just going to walk around without them tied because it takes so long. Everything takes too much time, right? Process is huge. And actually that was my word. Like I try to have a word every year that's like my focus. That was my word for 2019 was process. Realizing that the process is the thing, right? It's not the hokey pokey that it's all about. It's the, and what if it were, right? It's the process, right? And the process is life, and the process is dance, and the process is choreography. So if I can take a deep breath and put myself in that process, one, I can actually make it pretty enjoyable when I know that that is what I'm trying to do. Like, yes, the larger term goal is making the dance, but like that can't be where I'm heading. Like the process has to be the important thing, right? Like it is all about the journey. And then you do get to this fantastic endpoint where you have a choreography, but if you haven't enjoyed that journey, like it's almost hard to enjoy your output, right? To enjoy that choreography if the journey has been all a frustrating use of your time, right? So I love this, Gwen. You listen to your songs on loop while doing busy work at your job so you can get ideas for the choreography. Yes, absolutely. And that's part of the process, listening to it over and over and over and mapping it and coming up with ideas. Once you know the mapping process, it's actually really fun. I grab my colored pencils. I start to make crazy marks on the paper. You can draw it out. Some people do it on graph paper. I've had students map their choreography. They find the actual written music for the choreography and they map on top of the written music. It's really cool. It's a very creative and very unique process, and it's something that you can make your own, right? And so I think that that's huge. I love it. Katana, 70 years and still dancing. May I be you someday. I love that. Yes, I love it. You are so inspirational. That's fantastic. I love it. It's like I may have started too late to get 70 years in. I think I can do it. I'm going to live for a long time. I can tell. And so that process is the point, right? So finding the patience for the process, I think, is like finding patience for any process in life, knowing that that is the point, right? And then once you are okay with that process, dealing with the pressure is almost a non-issue now. There's no pressure to pick a move. You get to pick a move. Like this, the fact that we are in a position where we are allowed, we have the pleasure of being stressed out about belly dancing. Like if I really take a giant step back and look at the world as it exists today, and my stressor is belly dance, like, oh, holy hell, I've got it really good, right? So don't think of the pressure to it's not pressure to pick a move. It's the joy of allowing your body to express the move. So I think a lot of it is how you label things in your head and probably neuro-linguistic programming, right? Like, what are the words you're using to describe the thing you're doing? Do you have to go work on your choreography right now, or do you get to go dance? It's the same thing, but how do you think about it, right? So that's huge. So hopefully that's helpful. And I think once you have a process in hand, this is how I work too. I was a chemist before I was a belly dancer. So give me a set of instructions and I will follow them. I worked in a lab, like in college. I did great stuff in that lab because I can follow directions. So give me a methodology, say do this, do this, do this, do this, and then I get to be creative in those steps. And I thrive. That might not be for everyone, but I still contend, even if you are less of a rule follower, I'm a big rule follower, but if that's less of your thing, having an outline to guide your creativity often helps funnel your efforts in a very productive manner. So you're not spinning your wheels and feeling like nothing's happening with all the time you're spending. So I hope that talks to your question a bit, Therese. Let me know if you have more questions, but that was what came to mind when I read your email and I was thinking about what we were talking about. Another question that came up was from Sage. She talks about overcomplicating things and how can she avoid overcomplicating the process. And that's something we talked about in the idea of not letting the perfect be the enemy of the good. When we start to choreograph, I find that I start to like pick out my magnifying glass. Have you ever slowed your music down to choreograph it? I think, weren't we just talking about this, Corinna? Slowing music down to choreograph it. Useful and dangerous. Because if you slow it down too much, suddenly you can fit like 12 movements into that 8 counts. And then you speed it back up to tempo and you're like, oh my God, what was I thinking? All I can do there is a hip circle and that's it, right? So it's very easy to like get on these blinders and to get out your microscope and you start to zone in on those 4 beats where the drum goes da, 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 da. And I'm like, well, I could probably do like 6 or 7 accents there when you start to zone in. And sometimes you need to take a giant step back, because as we start to focus in on those tiny little accents, we start to overcomplicate things. We start to look at it as, I need to choreograph those 5 accents right there. What am I going to do? I can do a shoulder, then a chest, then a head, and then my left eyebrow. And you have to step back and look at the bigger picture. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll go back and look at some of the like Egyptian greats from like the golden era, and I look at how they dance. And there's just an ease and a beauty and a simplicity about it that brings me great joy. And I remember back when I went to Egypt back in 2005 to teach at Ahlan wa Sahlan, and I looked at the dancers from Luxor the first time, the Prince of Luxor. I can't remember his real name, but that's what we all called him because we thought he was a prince. He wasn't, but he was amazing. And when he would dance, I think he used like 3 or 4 moves, but it was like the way he did them. I could have watched him all day long do those 3 or 4 moves. And it was engaging because when we zoom back out from our choreographic process, we zoom back out, we realize that we are expressing the joy of the music. And a lot of times there's nothing complex about that, right? Nothing complex about that at all. And so you have to sort of avoid getting too down deep into any one part, and instead look at what is the overall choreographic storyline, emotional arc that you want to give to your dance. And will those 5 accents serve it or overcomplicate it, right? So it's beginning to recognize how you overcomplicate things and being able to take a deep breath and zoom back out to look at what is your greater goal with this, right? So yeah, I love that, Victoria. Your director said she used to keep a notebook by her bedside in case a move hits her so she won't forget it. That's brilliant. I keep a notebook by my bedside because I'm all night long. I'm like, oh gosh, I can't forget to do that tomorrow. So I write it down. So another question. Betty Jean was talking about making better choreographies. She says she choreographs, but she wants to make better choreographies. And I think this is exactly where I was about 7 years ago. I was making choreographies and I was cranking them out so fast, right? So I was definitely, I was doing a bit more quantity and I was sacrificing quality in some ways as I was doing them quickly. So part of it is taking your time and really enjoying the process. And then I think part of it is being able to approach it from many different angles and really find depth in that way, right? So often we approach choreography and we look at what movements are we going to do. And so number one, we have learned what does not matter, right? What does not matter. It's more about how. And then once we focus on how, let's look at, the emotional content. Maybe sometimes as a choreographic tool, I make a storyline for my dance, even if there are no lyrics, because that storyline will help me direct my music, direct my movements, direct my stage patterns, direct my facial and emotional expression in a way that creates a storyline arc that actually makes the piece like really kind of fun and engaging and mysterious to do, because I'm trying to transmit an emotional and story idea to my viewers. And I've seen magic happen with students when they get too bogged down in the what, and I tell them, you know what, I don't care what you do. I want you to show me a woman who's very dejected and who realizes that she has something amazing in life to live for, and she gets a new lease on life, and she comes out victorious. Show me that in your dance. I don't care if you, stand in place and wiggle your, shoulders, but show me that in your dance. Something magical happens, right? And so I think making better choreography for me comes back to that process. Having a process that gives me a number of different tools in my belt so that I can approach the dance from many different areas, creating a deeper connection with the movements that I am choosing, right? I love this, Katina. You've been dancing since age 17 in 1966. I love it. This is one of the things I love so much about our dance, is that it's for life, right? We don't age out of this dance. It's something that we can do forever. I always say dance is my retirement plan. I will never retire. Like, I guess I'm already retired, or I will never retire. I guess it depends on how I look at it. But this is beautiful. I love it. And I love that it is so supportive of women in every stage of their life. And I have danced with women twice my age who dance circles around me because they're amazing at what they do. And it's a part of who they've been for so many years. It's beautiful. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I have two others. Okay, so it was mentioned, I hear the idea of improvisation as it relates to the dance. And if you are a big improviser, that doesn't mean that you can't choreograph. It just means it's going to feel quite different for you when you do. I will contend, and let me know, I know I had at least one person who said they were a big improviser in this group. Do you find, say you improvise to the same song 10, 20, 30, 40 times, do you find that at points certain things start to stick? This happens to me because I have certain gigs that I always improvise, because like choreography is just not really feasible nor necessarily useful. And so I don't improvise. But like after the 20th time of dancing to that song, I notice I always do hip drops in that section, and I always do spins in this section, right? So choreography just kind of comes out. And so I'll use those ideas. So say I want to take that improvisation and eventually put it on a big stage, and I almost always choreograph when I go onto a big stage because I want to utilize the stage. I want to do my story arc, and I don't want to find myself in a position where I'm improvising and I'm suddenly in my head thinking, oh shoot, I just did that. Oh no, this isn't intriguing enough. Oh gosh, I keep doing the same thing over and over. And I find having, if not a complete choreography, parts in my piece that are choreographed to create peaks and valleys, that helps me a lot. So that might be a way to get into choreography if you're a big improviser, is find where your improv solidifies, use that. And then find the beginning. I find like the beginning and the end are great places to choreograph. And maybe if there's like a big peak in the middle, or perhaps a couple of choruses, that would be cool if they like kind of matched. And so you choreograph those and then improv in the middle. A lot of what I do is a fusion between the two, right? Someone else had mentioned tonight, what do you do if you get stuck? Oh yeah, I get it. Like I get stuck all the time. So sometimes I just move through it, right? Like if it's in a night, I'm working on something and I get stuck, I oftentimes will just put in my noodle inner hip rolls and I'll be like, done, moving on, right? That way I can continue the flow of my piece. What if I get completely stuck with a piece? I've been working on it for several weeks. I want to use it for something and it's just not going anywhere. I'll let you in on a little secret. Sometimes I just pull out my dance notebook and I look at a combination I learned in another class and I just put it in. Don't tell anybody. I do. I'm like, I don't know, I got nothing. And so I literally will like take a combination from another choreography. Usually I'll try to take something from my notebook that's not mine, because otherwise I tend to just end up doing my same things over and over, right? So I'll take a combination that I learned from someone that I thought was cool enough that I wrote it down, and I'm like, okay, well, if I wanted to make that combination fit into this 32 count phrase, how would I do it? So typically I massage it a bit. It's not gonna like, it's very rare that it's a true plug and play, though every once in a while that happens and it's like striking gold, right? But I'll put it in there and be like, okay, well, maybe I have to do, one ami instead of two, or maybe this just needs a shimmy over the top. But I will literally do that. And this happened to some of my students in my choreography intensive last year. They were like, I just have 16 counts. I don't know what to do. That's all I need to finish. And I'm like, here's some combos. See if they work, right? And I think a couple of them were like, actually, yes, that's great. Thank you. Because it's not the what, it's the how. It's not the what, it's the how. So when I get stuck, I'll be like, I'll just grab a what and let me how it, right? And that's actually huge. So Bonnie, let's see your question, a relevant anecdote. One time you were in a show where your music wasn't working due to technical issues and you ended up improvising to an entirely different song on the spot. Yes, oh my gosh. So the performance kind of turned into a choreography you performed years later. You never know where you'll get inspiration for choreography. So your inspiration for your choreography came completely from an improvisation you didn't even know you were going to do. Like, that's huge, absolutely. And there's something that can be said, this has happened to me before too, where I have one venue I dance at, and it's sometimes like Russian roulette belly dance, because the jukebox is where our music is played from the jukebox, and it'll get programmed in wrong, and I'm like, oh, let me just dance to this, And so I dance and I'm like, well, that was pretty cool, because you're on the spot, right? And it has to be that flow, and you have to be in the moment, and who knows what might come from that, yeah? Yes, Heather, I know you talk about this all the time. It's not the what, it's the how. And I think that is so liberating. We get so bogged down in the what, and people need to just let that go, because it's not going to serve us in any way. Exactly, it's how you do it. I have one more question that I was asked before a couple of days ago, I think. And it was such a good question. I'm actually going to read it because the way she wrote this was fantastic. So this comes from Kathy. She says, a fear I have when creating choreography is listening to my ego instead of listening to the music. By that, I mean my ego wants to show off the latest acrobatic move from the latest hot belly dancer without considering how well the music calls for that move. So hearkening back to the what and the how. Sometimes the music absolutely calls for basic hip drops with a sultry over-the-shoulder glance. But no, my ego wants me to put in that quintuplet spin with the 3-level drops while spinning, and of course including lotus hands and toes. I've never seen lotus toes before. At which point the audience gasps in horror and half of them start dialing 911 on their cell phones. Help. And I'm like, I feel you, Kathy. I totally feel you. And so, I think sometimes when we choreograph, we're like, this is the chance for me to show off all of my cool moves. That should have been one of the 5 mistakes. Don't show off every single one of your cool moves in a choreography. Like, very few choreographies will call for that. Very few pieces of music, should I say, will call for that, right? And if you know that those simple hip drops with that little look is all you need to make the audience melt in the palm of your hand, get over the ego and do it. Yes, let it go. Let it go, and just let it go. Let go of your ego and do it. So so many good things can come from this. One, your choreography is a lot more enjoyable, right? Because I remember someone else had emailed me about worrying about putting very complex material into their choreography and then forgetting it, right? Because you've made it so hard, you've choreographed yourself right out of the game, right? Unless you get months and months and months and months to practice it and get it under your sparkly belt, maybe it's just not going to happen, right? So being aware of when you're trying to put too much in there and when it's not going to serve you nor the music. Yes, Bonnie, just because you can do a super cool stunt doesn't mean you should do that super cool stunt, and you certainly shouldn't do them all in one choreography, right? So how do you rein yourself back in? I feel because I've seen this happen to me, take a video of you practicing like that. Take a video of it with your super cool stunt in there. And how does it make you feel? Maybe share it with a trusted friend. Is that like did it feel good? Did it look amazing? Chances are like one of those answers is going to be no. And then you've really complicated things. And then depending on where you're dancing, like if you're dancing for muggles, once again, they have no idea that quintuplet spin with the 3 level drops is really hard. I mean, they might be like, ooh, that's cool, but you do a shimmy and you get the same, ooh, that was cool, So it probably doesn't behoove you to do that, right? And then being careful not to do something that doesn't work with your body, right? Because I see some of the greats. Oh man, I took a workshop from Dina once and I still remember. I swear I was doing the thing she was doing. But like my dear friend Tamara, she's sitting there watching me. She's just laughing her butt off. I was like, no, I've got it. I know, no, I'm doing it right. She's like, you might be, but it does not look good on you. And I was like, no, because it's Dina. Like, I can't do what she does, right? Don't do it. Don't try to be someone else. Don't put it all in there. Don't try to emulate some hot new dancer, because that's not who you are and it's not going to feel good, right? Take inspiration, but let this choreography express you, right? So those are the questions I had that I wanted to answer tonight. And I know it's already 10 o'clock, so let me talk about a couple of quick things. So you've heard me reference a couple of times during the evening my intensive Secrets of the Confident Choreographer. And all of these ideas are embedded in this course. And if you stick around, I actually have a little bit of an offer to offer you all here for being here with me tonight, which I really appreciate. So this is a 6-week real-time intensive. And I know some of you logged in here right now were part of this intensive last year. Last year was the very first time I ran it, and I'm re-releasing it right now because it was such a huge success. And actually Tiffany, who I think is online right now, she is an alumni of the course and she has the best story. And I hope you don't mind me telling your story because I'm just so excited about it. Been dancing with me for 10 years, has done most of the choreographies I've created, but never made her own until she took the course. And in the course is 6 weeks. And from week 1 to week 6, she created her choreography. And in week 7, she performed it at our student night, actually last July. And it was, if I may say so myself, spectacular. It was amazing. And it was really, for me, the most amazing thing I had ever seen her do. She does my choreographies beautifully, but she does her own choreography even more beautifully. And it was magical. So this intensive takes you through in 6 weeks, teaches you start to finish how to pick your music, how to map your music, how to approach the music, how to segment your piece, how to approach the different sections in a variety of ways. We do the shotgun approach. We talk about emotion and theatricality. We talk about levels and contrast. We talk a lot about the what versus the how. We talk about stage usage. We talk about creating choreographic as well as storyline and emotional arc. We talk about what to do when we get stuck. I give you some combinations just in case you're stuck. I'd be like, here, do this, right? and within this, I also have we have a Facebook group, a private Facebook group, where we kind of talk about our struggles and our wins. We can post videos and ask questions, and every week we kind of check in, and I'm like, how's it going, guys? What can I help you with this week? The package comes with a 30-minute private lesson with me where we'll work through like whatever it is that you're getting stuck on, and I am there to keep you responsible. And because it is a real-time course, the way this runs is very different than a lot of the things on my online studio. Every week is available for 1 week. And so you have the videos there, and it's usually about 30 to 50 minutes of material to watch in that week. And then you work on it, you work on your process, you work on your choreography. Then that week's material disappears. So you have to have done it. And then the next week's material comes up. And so with this real-time process keeps you in the moment, keeps you on top of it, and prevents you from making this yet another online class that you purchase and then let sit, right? Because I have a couple of those. Yeah. Raise your hand if you've ever purchased an online course and then not used it. Because it'll be there later. Yeah, I've got a couple of those right now. I'm going to get to it tomorrow, I'm sure. But the ones that have a timestamp on them, like I just took like an online class with Aziza last week. It was great. And I for sure showed up because it was at noon. And if I didn't show up at noon, I was going to miss it, right? And so I was there. So that's why I do this in a real-time intensive format, because you will be there. You will show up and you will do the work, because you know it's not going to be there next week. Yes, Katina, I've done it so many times. Yeah. And so this format practically guarantees that you'll get through all of the material in 6 weeks, because that's all the time you have to do it. And I am there with you, cheering you on every step of the way, answering your questions and helping you through the material. So it's everything you need to create choreography. And the beauty of this is I feel like on my online studio, I have dozens of choreographies, and I feel like those are the fish. And this is the big package that like teaches you to fish. So like once you take it, I guess you don't need any of my other choreographies, which might be a bad business plan in the end, but I'm going to do it anyway because I want to empower you to create your own choreographies, even if it means that you no longer need my choreographies. But I want you to have the material to do it. And once you get through these 6 weeks, like literally you can make hundreds of choreographies moving forward because you have a framework, and this framework can be augmented and used with many different kinds of music for many different styles. It doesn't matter if you do, fusion or cabaret or Turkish or whatever, like this is going to work for you because it has all of the different pieces that you need to get through the choreographic process. It gives you that framework that's going to prevent you from getting into the studio, freezing up, and just not knowing what to do next, right? So that course, Secrets of the Confident Choreographer, is actually on sale now. It's been open. The cart has been open to register for about 6 days, and it closes tomorrow. No pressure. I'm closing the cart tomorrow night. So you have a day and a half to decide if this might be for you. The course is officially going to begin on Tuesday. And like I said, it'll be 6 weeks. There's all the details up there on the course. 6 weeks to get through the course. And at the end of 6 weeks, you will have a brand new choreography that you created yourself, which is kind of the most empowering thing in the world. Yeah, so if you're interested in checking it out, you can go to sahirabellydances.com/choreographer. sahirabellydances.com/choreographer, and there's a whole bunch of information there that tells you exactly what's included with the course. If you have any questions, you can ask me, but I offer you a couple of things. I want to offer you 2 special gifts if you register by the end of the night tonight. I want to offer you, one is an offer that came out at the beginning of registration for the course that I then deactivated, but I'm going to reactivate just for you. I just released a new little mini course on basic music editing for dancers using Audacity, which is a free online tool that's multi-platform. You can use it on a Mac or a PC. And I use that to edit a lot of my choreography music. And I just created a course that takes you through the basics of cutting, fading, speeding up, slowing down, inserting more music into a piece, because I know it's happened to me a dozen times, and let me know if it's happened to you. You find the most perfect piece, but it's like 30 seconds too long for the show, right? Because it has to be 4.5 minutes, not 5 minutes long. Or you find this awesome piece, but you actually want it to be a tiny bit longer, and there's a section that you love and you'd love it to repeat, right? Yeah, so you guys have had this happen, right? Or you find a piece of music, and I do this only every once in a while, and I hope it's not considered cheating. I love all of it except for that one random part where like it sounds like the Mizmar player died or something, and you're like, I can't dance to that part, and you just want to take it out. Yeah, I do that every once in a while, where I take out a part that just doesn't serve me nor my choreography. This course will teach you how to do that, and it's really pretty simple and very intuitive, and I'll take you through. It's a screenshot and me talking over how to edit music. I want to give that to you for free if you sign up for my Secrets of the Confident Choreographer by the end of the day today, because obviously editing the music could be something that you want to do right alongside creating your choreography, because you might find the great choreography that you want, but it's not exactly the music that you need due to time constraints or whatever. So now you can edit it to make it just what you want. Yeah, it's Katana, like it's something I do all the time. I put, a little ending tag so we can bow as we walk out or whatever. So I do lots of little tweaks to my music that I choreograph to. So that is yours for free if you register today. And then also I want to give you, just because I really appreciate you guys joining me live. This is so much fun. I enjoy it. And I love this more personal connection than me just putting out videos and you guys kind of watching, but me not knowing what's going on. So another just thank you for you for being here. If you register for Secrets of the Secrets of the Confident Choreographer, if you register for that by the end of the day today, I'm also going to gift you 1 month of my Rhinestone subscription for free. So that's normally $30 a month, so that's a $30 value, and it includes everything that I have released on Teachable. And I haven't looked recently. I feel like I must have anywhere between like maybe 18 and 20 different packages. Everything from technique to choreography to zills, so many zills. I've got lots of that stuff on there. And I even have like a couple random things. Like I released a course on how to modify t-shirts to make them look really cute, because that's something I like to do. So anyway, you'll have access to absolutely everything that I have on Teachable for an entire month. As a gift for signing up and joining me for this choreography intensive, and for joining me tonight for this Facebook Live. So just to wrap it up, because that's my spiel and I don't want to keep you guys up late on a school night, SahiraBellyDances.com/choreographer, Secrets of the Confident Choreographer. That course is a 6-week real-time intensive that will take you through step-by-step everything you need to create your own choreography. And at the end of 6 weeks, you will have a brand new choreography that is all yours. That course is $298. It is something that will serve you for the rest of your life. So it's definitely more than what I charge for, like, here is a choreography, right? That might cost you $60. But with this, like, you literally can create all the choreographies you want for the rest of your life. And it gives you a beautiful framework by which to approach the choreographic process. And then when the course is over, you'll have all of the information printed out. I give you a PDF that has all of the details of the course and the process that we went through. And then, of course, you have all of that knowledge in your brain. The course also includes private lesson time with me to work through your choreography, and an online Facebook group where we can support each other and celebrate our wins as we go through that. So if you register for that, registration does close tomorrow night and the course begins. So once it closes, it's done. But if you register by the end of the day today, I will get you your music editing for dancers course and your 1-month Rhinestone subscription for free as a huge thank you. And that's it, you guys. I really appreciate you joining me tonight. It has been a serious pleasure talking to you all. I am so glad that you are all totally empowered to go out and create your own choreography now. And whether you do that with me by your side or not, I applaud you for getting the chutzpah up and doing it, because I know that you can. The only thing that I ask is when you do create that choreography, send me a video. I want to see what you've done, and I want to be in the front row, either literally or virtually, applauding you and cheering you on. I feel like this is such a beautiful process, and it is such a moving and vulnerable process. I understand that it's something that really opens your heart and your emotions up to the world when you put it out on the stage. And I want you to know that I am here to support you through that. I know that you can do it, and I think that people will love what you do. Come at this as a you gifting your love to the people you're performing for, and not a you putting out something there for people to judge. If you choose to love them, they will love you back. And so go out and create choreography and prosper, and then send me a video and let me know how it went. Yeah? Thank you guys so much for joining me. I appreciate it so much. Feel free to send me an email if you have any questions, or post in the chat if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer questions. So I'll be online on Facebook answering questions once we sign off here, just to see if there's anything else that I can help you all with. I appreciate you all so much. This has been great. I hope to see you on the dance floor soon. Thank you, Therese. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Katana. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Leanne, for joining. It's been really wonderful connecting with you all. I appreciate it. Y'all have a fantastic night and a beautiful week. Happy dancing. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you, Karina. I'll see you on Wednesday. Can't wait to dance with you this weekend in Austin. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Gonna be fun. Thank you, ladies. It's been awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you so much. Thanks, Amy. Wonderful, wonderful to see you here. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. Appreciate it so much. You guys are awesome. Rock stars. Woo! We're gonna have a good time. Girls Weekend in Austin. It's gonna be fun. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I have to go sew hooks on my costume. Maybe I'll do that now before our dress rehearsal on Wednesday. Yeah. Thank you all so much. Good night.